This is All the Rage with Paige. I'm Paige, and I'm drinking my Cam with the peppermint. I am just on a kick of having chamomile tea with peppermint tea, and it's just delicious. So, if you are trying to quit drinking, start drinking the Cam peppermint. Once upon a time, I worked at Whole Foods, and I was like a customer service supervisor, like the cashier's area supervisor. And we had this new rule that you couldn't have any drinks up at the register except for a bottle of water. And one of the employees, who was like a younger woman, she had a tall carton of chocolate milk at her cash register. And, I was a very laxed supervisor, as you would expect. And, but that was just one of those things where it was just like, well, if it does something, I'm going to be the one that gets in trouble for it. Or if or if my supervisors come and see it, I'm going to be in trouble. So I had to tell her, I'm so sorry, but you're going to have to put that in the break room, in the fridge, because we're not allowed to have that at the register. We can only have bottled water. Or I think it was just a closed container. It had to be a closed container, and it was a carton of milk. And instead of doing that, she looked me in the eyes the whole time as she chugged the entire carton of chocolate milk. She never broke eye contact the whole time she's chugging this milk, and you can just hear her go gulp, 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 gulp. And her eyes are starting to bulge. Tears, literal tears, started coming down her face, and I'm just having to stand there watching her. It was a lot. It was a lot. And I will never forget that. All right, let's go with the polls. I asked you guys, what's been your favorite part about the sunny days recently? 33% of you said gardening and yard chillin', which was my answer. Which, if you follow me on my personal account, you know that I've just been living the gardening old lady life. And it's been fantastic. And yeah, with the yard chillin', there's really not much better. You got to get something to keep the bugs away, put some tunes on, have a nice chair to sit in, a nice view. And what could be better than that? Especially, this time of year in the Pacific Northwest. There's really nothing much better than that. If you don't have to go anywhere, you just go outside your house. Voila. And 28% of you said the light in the house and sunny drives and hangouts. I feel like my answer would have been sunny drives and hangouts when I was younger. That is just, I don't know. There's something nostalgic about that for me. Just taking a drive, having the windows down, music up, thinking anybody gives a shit. And hanging out with your friends in good weather. That's, some good stuff. But light in the house too. I feel like, it's underrated. I don't know if a lot of people keep their blinds open or let the natural light in, but there is just something to it. It really lifts your mood, just like it lifts your mood when you go outside in that Vit D. So, yeah, if you got curtains, open them, baby. Dust them off. Take some selfies. You know what to do. I know what to do. You know that I know what to do. I'm just telling you, do it. I asked how you guys are feeling creatively, and 39% of you said about the same, and 28% of you said better than usual, which, first of all, love that. Second of all, where is it? Third of all, jealous, because I personally have kind of been in a block. I think I've just been into too many different things that I'm just having a hard time focusing, which I feel like is the story of all of our lives. But yeah, I feel like I was just on such a good creative streak for a while, and just recently I'm with certain things I can't do it recently, like the poetry. I'm really sad about that because I was so enjoying it, but I haven't been able to put anything on paper. So yeah, hopefully that comes back. If anyone's got tips or inspo, throw it to me. I asked how you guys are doing mentally, and 44% of you said better than usual. Yay. And 28% of you said a bit off, to be honest. I'm really sorry. The start of this week was actually one of the harder weeks I've had in a while. I'm going to talk about it later, but by the end of the week, I was doing really fantastic. So stay tuned. keep listening. I asked how you guys are doing romantically, and 38% of you said passion be passioning. Oh, and it was also tied with not a focus right now. And I have a bit of an observation about that on this next poll question. 41% of you said that you're seeking deeper connections. Do I have any? I don't know. You know, sometimes I feel that way, but not necessarily because I don't have deep connections, but all of them are like long or long-ish distance. Like I don't have any friends really that are, you know, in my close proximity anymore. I did have one friend that I truly enjoyed, and she's moving, which just happened like a year ago. So why you guys got to keep moving away from me? You don't seem to like me very much. I don't know, you know, how I couldn't be good enough for you to stay. There was a tie. 29% of you said it's all going great. And 29% of you also said that you would just like more time. I think I answered that things are great, though I feel like I had more time with those friends in person. Like I said, most of them are kind of like long distance, but I do talk to them like all day, every day via phone, which is a big reason why I'm addicted to my phone. 0% said it wasn't a priority. I found it really interesting that the number one tie for romantic relationships was that it's not currently a priority, but then 0% of people said that friendships weren't a priority. It's just interesting to think like, because I think most of my friends, most of you guys are in relationships. So I just find it interesting that I think it can become harder to make our romantic relationships a priority in our lives, especially if it's something that we've been in for so long, because we know that they're going to be there. And especially if we live with that person and, you know, we're with them every day, we're talking with them every day, it's a lot more secure. So it's a lot easier to kind of like slack off in our efforts of it. And it's a lot easier for us to have like resentments in that relationship. With friendships, it's not necessarily something that you have to put your energy into constantly, but it's a lot more fun usually to put effort in those relationships because it's not as serious as our romantic ones. And it's also a lot easier for us to be forgiving for things in friendships versus romantic relationships. And you're also not having to see them as much. It's just like a little bit more like lighthearted. And this isn't to say that friendships aren't as important as our romantic relationships, because that could absolutely be argued. And I also understand that it's not always going to be a priority for people, especially if they're not in or want to be in a relationship. But yeah, I just thought that was kind of interesting and like something to consider and think about. I asked if you guys are enjoying yourselves recently, and 47% of you said that you're trying harder than you ever have before. I think that is fantastic. I really hope that is true for most people, that, you know, they're really trying to consciously work on loving themselves. And I think that it's going to make everybody's life better. I mean, I feel like that's like a duh thing, but think of how many people you know that truly, genuinely love themselves and feel confident in themselves and all that good stuff. I honestly do not know if I can think of a single person. So I think it's so important. If anything, it's the most important thing, especially like relationship wise. There's no more important relationship that we can have in our lives than the one with ourselves. So isn't it kind of weird that it seems to be the hardest for us to understand that it's the most important? I guess it makes sense because society and, you know, the majority of how a lot of us were raised was to believe that that's selfish and conceited and narcissistic, when it's not. If you genuinely, unconditionally love yourself, it doesn't hurt anybody. If anything, it's going to make you a less selfish person because you're not just constantly trying to feed your ego outside of yourself. And this was the thing that I was going to mention earlier and said I was going to mention later. That made no sense, but we're going to keep going. The thing that I did this week that ended up turning my whole week around and something that I want to do every day, which I haven't done since, I don't know, it was Thursday or something like that. But it's something I want to make a part of my routine. I almost feel like I'm giving you guys my secret sauce right now, but you know what? I want everybody to be swimming in this sauce, which is self-love, is I just decided I'm going to go look in the mirror and talk to myself, because I've done it a few times in the past and I was always surprised by how nice it made me feel afterwards. So because I was having such a tough week, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try looking in the mirror and talking to myself and see where it gets me. So I had no plan. I knew that I was probably going to try to say like, I love you to myself, because that's what I had tried in the past. But I ended up talking to myself, and I don't remember all the things that I said. But it started flowing, and it was kind of strange how much nicer than you know, typically in the past that I would have been to myself. It was so powerful and impactful for me that I ended up crying. I was PMSing, but I think I would have cried anyways, because it was just incredible. I was truly believing everything that I was saying to myself. It made me realize how I, you know, deep down feel about myself. I don't know if that's just like my inner child or what. There was just no questioning it. And the things that I was saying were a big deal. And I know that if I felt like that about myself all the time, I can't imagine how great my life would be. And probably because my phone was listening to me, I've seen a few TikToks kind of talking about it. And one of them was saying that, I don't know, so I don't register specific names and things like that, to be quite honest, if I don't think I'm going to need to remember it later, which I always do. Just the general consensus of it was that the best thing you can do for your health and to maintain progression when it comes to your health, like for example, you know, losing weight, acne, whatever it is being kind to yourself. I know we've all heard of that experiment of like putting cooked rice in 2 different jars, and you're nice to one and mean to the other, and the one you're mean to starts getting moldy and the one you're nice to just stays nice rice. Okay, that's what I was going to say. I was going to keep myself from saying it, but I can't do that. I haven't done the experiment. Do I want to? Kind of. I don't really want to find out that it's not real, but I think the same thing truly applies. And one of the reasons I feel that way is because ever since me really kind of like changing the way that I do feel about myself, it started with a self-love journal that I did. It was like a 19-week prompted journal type thing. I really started to shift the way I saw myself. It helped me to actually make some progress when it came to my inner child stuff. I feel like my outer appearance has fully mirrored that mental change, the mindset shift. I started losing and maintaining the weight loss. I just felt like my skin feels clearer and shinier. I just feel like my outward appearance completely mirrors the way that I feel on the inside. I just feel like there's so much more truth to that than we want to accept, because we want to be able to keep doing the behaviors that we do to sabotage ourselves because we're addicted to it. We're addicted to the drama. We're addicted to the self-loathing. We're addicted to self-deprecating. Are those the same words? I couldn't tell you. The way that we talk to ourselves matters. I mean, even an example from today, I think Charlie dropped water or something and he said something mean to himself. And that's just kind of like a habit that we do. I do it too. I'm not trying to just call him out. But I just said, no, we're not going to talk like that anymore. You just need to say to yourself, whoopsies. So I just want to challenge you. Anytime you have a mean thought to yourself or say something out loud that's mean to yourself, correct it. And keep correcting it until you stop. And at that point, I bet you're going to be sexy as hell. And my last question was, do you feel like you express yourself? And 50% of you said, of course I do. And 25% of you said, sometimes I guess. I found that pretty interesting that 80% said to the effect of, you know, I'm not loving myself enough. But then the number one answer, 50%, said, of course I do. And 75% 90% of you are saying that you express yourselves. That to me, I'm like, how can I put this lightly? That to me kind of shows that in general, we put more effort into or seem to care more about how it appears that we view ourselves or who we are more than how we view ourselves or how we feel about ourselves. I think something we forget sometimes when it comes to caring about how other people view us and things like that is it's truthfully, first of all, just about our ego. It's not actually like caring about other people more than ourselves. And also the things that if we don't feel good about ourselves, every single thing that we are witnessing in others is just about ourselves, that we are too afraid to look at in ourselves. So we just critique other people doing those things. But if we can be nice to ourselves, not only are we most likely going to accomplish the things that we want to do and be the person that we want to be, or that we know we are deep down, or at least figure out who we are and who is just a fantasy version, which also a lot of our fantasies we don't actually want. Because if you did, you'd do it. Just like when we hate ourselves, we're projecting and assuming and all those things. But if we truly love ourselves, it's only going to help us see other people better for who they actually are and have our relationships be a lot more genuine and unconditional and safe. So it's just kind of crazy to me that it's like, we hear these phrases like, you have to help yourself first before you can help anybody else. You can only meet people as much as you've met yourself. We hear all these sayings and we just don't take any of them seriously. Why? Why are we so hung up on excuses for ourselves? Why are we so scared to look at ourselves? And even if we are looking at ourselves all the time, it's like we're still like, don't want to go there. Don't want to feel nothing. No matter what, we're having to live this life every day. And we're having to put effort in things every day. And everything is a choice. So, if you're gonna live your life, why not live it loving yourself? And if you truly care about others more than yourself, still, you're gonna need to work on loving yourself first. No matter what, I feel like I always come to the same conclusion for everything. And that's how important it is to love ourselves and how important it is to stay present. And if we're so focused on thinking about all the things versus just accepting ourselves, accepting others, and accepting this life, what are we doing? So yeah, if you've projected on me or criticized me or assumed things about me, I don't really care because I love me and I love you, and I'll see you next week. Bye.